Improper plant spacing is a very common mistake in gardening and landscape design. I think it's such a common mistake because even if people have heard of plant spacing, proper plant spacing, they don't fully understand why it's so important. I've even come across multiple designers, industry professionals who don't space plants properly or understand this fully, the importance of this fully. So if you are a do-it-yourselfer and you're watching this video, this is going to be empowering information for you. You are going to be ahead of the game. Hello, my name is Eve Hanlon. I'm a landscape designer, I'm a horticulturist, and I'm based out of the Pacific Northwest corner of the United States. This is Garden Project Academy, and I'm here creating YouTube videos and online courses to help you have a more successful gardening and landscaping project. Please remember that best practices are a little bit different everywhere. It is up to you to decide what is best for you and your yard, and this video is for informational and inspirational purposes only. The first reason that proper plant spacing is important is because it affects the cost of your project. The more plants you need to buy, the bigger that bill is going to be initially or over time. Of course, you probably want your design to fill in and look mature and established as quickly as possible, but there is a reasonable balance in there. You don't want to plant so close that you quickly have plants crowding and needing to be removed too soon. You can use this method strategically if you like. Some people enjoy investing in more plants and then moving the plants a little bit later. It depends on what you like. So just keep this in mind. The nice thing about plants is that they grow. So you can have a smaller plant bill if you are willing to invest a little bit more time waiting for things to establish a little bit more. You should educate yourself on the plants that you're putting in the ground and what they're going to do, and then use this strategically. Plant spacing can also affect plant health. Many plants and even trees can do just fine a little bit crowded. Some are used to growing in plant communities. Sometimes planting in layers can be a good thing. It depends. It depends on the plant. It depends on your climate, your local ecosystem, what the plants in your area like. But sometimes overcrowding can really create issues. And it is possible to overcrowd some things pretty easily. A great example of this is when someone plants a row of trees for privacy and they put the trees way too close together so that they fill in quickly. If planted too close together, these trees will over time start competing with each other for space and resources. They'll become weaker, more unstable, more susceptible to pests and diseases. This is a very easy thing to do, especially when you're in a hurry to get privacy and the recommended plant spacing just feels too far. Don't fall for this. Do a little bit of research. Sometimes a little bit of overlap can be an okay thing. Sometimes it's nice, and it won't affect plant health that much, but just be careful. I know that some people will plant perhaps twice the recommended rate, and then at a certain point will take out every other plant. Be careful using this method. It can work. Just be sure that you time it correctly so that your plants aren't competing with each other and seeing, their health isn't decreasing before you get the chance to take them out. Time it correctly, do a little bit of research. Also, it is easy to put a plant in a space where it won't have enough room to grow, like too close to a house or to a walkway. Depending on the plant, this might not become a problem for many years, but eventually this plant is either going to require extensive pruning or removal, just to keep it out of the way or to avoid property damage and safety concerns. Even out in the middle of a garden bed, if you desire a more open look or a neater look in your landscape and your plants are too close together, over time they'll fill in and you'll start needing to prune pretty frequently to achieve a neat look. I'm sure you're starting to see how this increase in maintenance can add up over time, right? At first, this isn't a big deal, but over time, you're going to be doing more pruning, more managing pests and diseases, you're going to be moving or removing plants, and it adds up. On the flip side, proper plant spacing can actually decrease maintenance. There's kind of a sweet spot. If you space your plants perfectly to overlap slightly at maturity, they'll fill in space. And I'm personally a fan of designing this way so that plants fill in an area and decrease the need for mulching and weeding over time. Of course, the plant spacing will affect the style of your landscape. Some people have a preference for how, dense or how spaced they want their landscape to look. If you want an open landscape with a lot of space in between plants, that's okay. But just know that when you plant it, it's going to feel super open, unless you want to pay for extra plants and then remove them later. If you do, just be strategic and plan that into your design, which will be removed and when. And otherwise, just be patient. To make it even more exciting, different plants will have different growth rates. For example, the perennial flowers in your landscape may grow bigger in the first few years than your shrubs and trees might, even though over time, the trees and shrubs are going to end up bigger than the flowers. This means you may have a backwards look to the scale of your landscape in those first couple of years, unless you plan around this, maybe establishing your trees and shrubs first. Now, I'm sure your next question is, how do you determine the mature size of a plant? And you can learn about this anywhere you can learn about plants. So on a plant tag at a good nursery, they should have the mature size on a plant tag, every plant tag. You can learn about it in gardening books, online resources, just about anywhere you can learn about plants. I actually have a free mini course on this. It's called How to Choose the Perfect Plant, and I share some of my favorite resources for researching things about plants, like the mature size and just overall how to determine if you are actually putting the right plant in the right place. I created this mini course because this information is so important. It's so fundamental to having a successful landscaping project. I hope that it helps you. It's free. It's about an hour long total. All you have to do to get access to it is to, create a little account so that you can track your progress as you move through the course. I hope that it helps you. It's linked in the description below this video. Remember that the mature size is kind of like an average. The mature size can vary. Often, the mature plant size will mean the size of the plant after 10 years, but sometimes it does represent a mature size sooner or later than that. Again, depending on the plant type. Sometimes it can represent the size at which the growth rate will slow down. So for the first few years, a plant may grow pretty quickly to a certain size, and then it'll only grow a little bit bigger than that each year over the years from there on out. Eventually, every plant is going to get bigger than the mature plant size listed, but not for a pretty long time usually. Simply paying attention to the mature plant size that's shared on the tag or in your favorite gardening book and spacing accordingly will be a pretty good bet. No garden design will ever be perfect, and the plants can be rebellious too. They may not follow the rules. They may grow bigger than expected, not get as big as expected, but in general, paying attention to the mature plant size listed can help you plan, decrease maintenance, and increase the odds of having a successful garden over time. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out the free mini course that's linked below. I also have my gardening newsletter. I have a waitlist for my upcoming course, Design Your Own Landscape Layout, which will teach you how to, if you have this new landscaping project, a blank canvas, it'll teach you how to plan out all of those elements, prioritize them, and go from having no plan to a hand-drawn, to-scale landscape layout plan. So there's a link to the waitlist for that in the description below this video if you're interested in that. Maybe by the time you watch this, the course will be done and you can just sign right on up. But in general, I'm new to YouTube. I'm having so much fun bringing my landscape design business online, creating these online courses instead of doing design work, empowering others to create designs for themselves. So if you'd like to follow the journey, you can subscribe. There's the newsletter. And thank you so much for being here. Please let me know if you have any additional questions or, comments, share them below. Thank you so much for watching.